Hello and welcome to Fast Track to Funding, what every investor needs to know about private money. My name is Derek Smith and I'll be presenting this presentation. First, let me give you a disclaimer. Smith Real Estate Funding does not render legal, accounting, tax, and investment advice. I am not an accountant. I am not a lawyer. So if you're seeking advice in one of these areas, please consult a competent financial advisor, attorney, or CPA. This presentation is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as a solicitation to submit a loan application to anyone that is not properly licensed in any particular state. Loans are available through Smith RE Funding only to business entities for commercial or business purposes and secured only by non-owner occupied investment property. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the presentation. So my goal today is to help you fund more deals in more places so you get paid more often. Now, would that be beneficial for you? Let's talk about how to get the most out of this presentation. First of all, I'm going to give you some great information about private money, so I want you to take good notes. Next, I want you to decide on your specific action points that you want to take after going through this presentation. I'm going to give you some great information once again about how you can get your deals funded, so I want you to be attentive and present. Also, on completion, I want you to take immediate and decisive action and contact me so I can fund all your deals. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how to be confident enough to approach every seller of real estate, knowing that you are a real estate investor backed by millions of dollars in purchasing power. So let's start off by talking about what is a private money mortgage. Now, private money is capital lent by private citizens or companies throughout the United States. And private money usually has shorter terms and a clearly defined repayment schedule as to how you're going to pay that money back. Now, terms of these types of loans will vary from lender to lender, and it's going to depend upon your experience level as an investor, as well as your relationship with me as a lender. That first deal, I don't know who you are, but that second through 10th deal through 20th deal, I know you and I can actually get you better rates because I know what you need. And there's a trust factor that's built in there as well. So let's talk a little bit about how private money works. Let's look at a guy named Steve, and he's buying a house that he wants to flip and resell for a profit. Now, because of the nature of the deal, Steve can't get money from a conventional banking institution. They don't fund fix and flips. So what else could Steve do? Well, Steve can come to me and he can get private money for his deal. So let me walk you through a classic private money loan. So Steve is going to pay $100,000 for a house that he can sell for $175,000. We call this the after repair value. Now Steve has $35,000 in cash and he needs to borrow the rest to pay for this house. Steve contacts me, a private money lender, and offers to pay me a premium price to borrow $65 for a short period of time. Now I know that for this I'm going to be in the first lien position against that property. So I have nothing that's going to be really at risk. So I'm happy to provide Steve the funds he needs. I'm also going to earn a relatively high return on my investment for doing so. So here's the solution to Steve's problem. The after repair value is going to be $175,000 for the property after he fixes it up. The purchase price that Steve is going to pay is $100,000. Steve is going to pay $35,000 down and he needs $65,000 to close this deal. Now the loan to value that I'm going to give him is 65% of the deal. And the after repair loan to value is going to be 37%. Now the principal balance I'm going to lend him is $65,000 at an annual interest rate of 9%. Steve's monthly payment will be $487 and the term of his loan will be 12 months. The total earned over those 12 months will be $5,850. Let's fast forward 12 months and see what happens. So Steve goes out and sells the house for $175,000. His total closing costs and fees equal 10% of his sales price, or $175, which is the sales price, and that comes to $17,500. Then his repair costs for fixing up the place to get it ready for sale is $15,000. You take off the cost of the money I loaned him for 5 months at 800 times $845 equal $4,225. Then he's going to pay off the loan to me, and that cost is going to be $67,600, and his reimbursement of his down payment of $35,000. So the total amount Steve is going to make is $35,675 off this deal, and my profit will be $6,825 as the private lender. This is indeed a win-win for both me and for Steve. Let's talk about how you can find private money. So you can get money from your home equity. If you have equity in your homes, you can pull that money out and use that. If you have CDs that you have sitting around not making much interest, you can use that for private money. Stocks, commodities, precious metals, hedge funds, foreign exchange currency, and if you already have a real estate portfolio, you can take money from that equity and use it for private funding. Or you can use me, Smith Real Estate Funding. I will guarantee you that we can beat any deal that you already have on the table, or even if you go out and shop for another deal and bring it to me, I will beat any deal that you already have. If you want more information about that, you can go to www.smithrefunding.com. I would like to be your number one source to funding every one of your deals every time you have a deal. We have an unending source of capital. We have networked with strategic partners all over the United States. We're created on 75 years of combined legal and real-world experience in real estate acquisition and funding. And we're the fastest growing matchmaker between funds and deals. The money is absolutely secure. It gives you complete control over your deals, and it gives you funding without traditional bank considerations. Look, wealth is not determined by the amount of money you have. It's determined by the number of assets you control. With everything that's going on today, private money is now the only source for real estate investment funding. Private money allows you to buy property in a down economy, regardless of your credit score. Your credit score does not matter. It's the deal that matters to us. Of course, credit score is going to be the determining factor as to how much you pay for the money, because let's face it, lower credit rating means more risk for us, but it's not a deal breaker for the deal. Your background does count. We really like to do business with folks who have done at least a couple of deals, 3 or 4 deals, because we know you understand how this works and you're probably going to be successful at it. However, we're not going to rule you out. If you come to us and you've never done a deal before and you have a great deal, we're willing to listen to that deal. And if it makes money, we'll loan you money. Your knowledge base. If you don't have a background in doing deals, then if you have education and training, and you kind of know what you're doing, we'll consider that as well. Your income status. How much money do you make already? Let me tell you this. It's easier for you to get money if you already have a job and have an income coming in, more so than if you just flip properties for a living. Now, I know you can make a great income flipping properties for a living. It just makes you look better on a loan application when you have income coming in and we know that you can pay for the loan. So that brings us to your employment status. Having a job with an income that shows you can make that $500, $600, $700 payment if something goes wrong is a great plus. And we look at the current situation, of course, and again at that deal. Now let me give you just a sampling of the type of properties that we will lend on. We will lend on a single family home as long as it's non-owner occupied investment properties. We lend on duplex, triplex, and fourplexes as long again as it's non-owner occupied. You cannot live in it and get money from us. We will give loans for commercial multifamily properties, 5 units and up. A multifamily property is considered 5 units and more. Less than 5 units considered residential. So we will give loans on commercial, tenant, retail, and industrial property. We'll give loans on new construction. We give loans to fix and flippers for rehab, fix and sale, and for rehab, fix and hold. If you can show us that the project puts money in your pocket, we can probably almost 100% get it funded. Let me go over a target deal for you so you can understand private money mortgage specifics. Let's take a look at a basic loan. We do first trust deed lending only. It's going to be interest only. The minimum loan amount is $15,000. The maximum loan amount depends on the deal. So bring me the deal. Our loans run for anywhere from 3 to 24 month terms, for example. There's no prepayment penalty. For your basic loan for the financial condition, you need a down payment, construction rehab costs, closing costs, and 3 months reserve is required. And cross collateralization is allowed. Let's go over the general applicant requirements. You as the applicant or borrower must be an existing valid U.S. business entity, LLC, a corporation, a partnership, or trust. We cannot give loans to individuals. So if you have a house that you're buying or a multiplex or a commercial deal, it has to be held in an LLC or some other type of business entity. You or your partners in the LLC must be a personal guarantor on the loan. 40% or more owners of entity are required to be personal guarantors. U.S. business entities with ownership by foreign nationals are permitted to borrow as long as you're a U.S. business entity. Let's look at the property requirements that we look for. Again, it has to be non-owner occupancy only. We do not give residential mortgages. The different property types, once again, are single family residences as long as it's for investments. duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, condos, townhouses, multifamily housing, and commercials. You need to have a clear title. We don't want to deal, of course, with clouded title that's going to disrupt the deal. You have to have hazard insurance premium paid at closing, including flood insurance when it's applicable for the property. You have to have a third-party independent appraisal done by an approved national company, and this is going to be ordered by us. Property must be habitable or the funds are going to be held in escrow. Lease agreements are required on all subject properties that are rented already. Licensed contractor bids required on all repair work that's needed. Must have that bid to see how you're going to spend the money repairing the property. No seasoning requirements on refinances unless acquired by gift or a quick claim in the last 12 months. Then the max LTV is going to be 50%, and cross collateralization is allowed. Let's take a look at two different types of deals. We're going to look at a refinance deal and a purchase deal. Let's start with the refinance deal. Remember, refinance cannot be refinancing your home that you live in. You're refinancing your rental properties for a business purpose. All funds being used to go back into the current project or for cross collateralization. We'll lend you up to 65% of the as-is appraised value for that property. If you as the borrower receive more than 10% of the loan amount as cash out at closing, then the loan defaults to a cash out transaction. Let's talk about cash out. If it's a cash out transaction, we will refund up to 50% of the as-is appraised value, and we'll lend up to 80% of the purchase price or 65% of the as-is appraised value, whichever is lesser. How do you get the 20% down that you need? You can get it from an equity partner. You can get it from a family or friend. You can use equity that you have in a free and clear property already. Seller could carry back. You can get it from your 401k or your self-directed IRA or a gap funder, or you can use cash. Basically, we don't really care where the money comes from as long as we have enough for the down payment. Let's look at where we do loans. Now, I am authorized to do loans in any of the states you see here in orange. You have to worry about the other colors. I do deals in the area covered in orange. Now, let me give you a couple funded loan examples. Here's one loan deal that we did on this house. It was $75,900. Corey Blood said the best way to buy real estate is to do so without using your own money, and that's absolutely true. So when we are buying properties at 50 cents on the dollar and availability is nearly unlimited, fast money at mezzanine loan rates allow us to operate. So Corey Blood was, of course, a happy customer. Here's another loan amount that was done for $55,000 on this house. Mary Lee said, I put 4 properties under contract, all related to my first deal. I can do this because I have access to private money. It's a small price to pay to put $16,000 in your pocket. That's what I made on the property I just closed on. Look, what difference does it make what you pay for the money as long as you know how much money you're going to put in your pocket at the end? Here's another one we did for $110,000. So Phil Cutting said, I received purchase and rehab money. I cannot believe you guys got this deal closed so fast. But you said you could, and you did, and we will. We can close the deals in as little as 7 days if you get all the paperwork in order and if you move fast on the deal. And a couple more we did for $375,000, and that's another $375,000 property. So do you want to secure your funds and secure them fast? Then fill out the form I have for you at www.smithrefunding.com. I will then call you, I'll support you, and I'll shepherd you through the package submission process. And once your deal is accepted, I'll get you the funding you need to secure your deal. I look forward to funding you to the real estate success that you're looking for. Again, contact me at www.smithrefunding.com.